So this is going to be the fifth time I'm trying to record this episode. First two times I had camera troubles. Last two times my computer crashed on me and I lost all the footage. There's also construction going on in my house, so I'm not going to be able to get into my studio. So I figured this time I'd record this episode in the studio where I record every show I do for the Shred Shack, which is my radio show on Tuesday nights. So I just couldn't put this off any longer. I had to record this again. So without any further ado, let's all get serious and talk about Viking Metal.
Rise, my brothers, we are blessed by steel. My sword I must, for yourselves the truth shall...
$10 well spent. I'm one of those people who say that if it's heavy metal, you could just call it metal, but there are so many categories and subgenres in heavy metal that it's almost ridiculous. Most genres are pretty self-explanatory: speed, thrash, folk. But there's some bands out there that are so hard to categorize, I feel like they come up with their own subgenres to kind of justify their own existence. I have no idea what the hell I should call Polka Dot Cadaver, but I like it. Things like pirate metal are surprisingly popular, Christian metal, pagan metal, medieval metal. I found out there's this thing called crabcore. Don't look at me, I can't explain that. But one of the more common subgenres of heavy metal nowadays is called Viking Metal, and it's kind of a blanket term. It's really used to describe a kind of offshoot of doom and death metal that focuses heavily on mythological elements and warfare and stuff like that. Bands like Bathory and Burzum are considered to be the genre's biggest influences, but to be perfectly honest, I don't listen to nearly enough Bathory, and I really don't feel like talking about Varg Vikernes on this show, ever. So instead, let's just talk about the band that should have popped into your head when I said the words Viking and metal in the same sentence, and that's Amon Amarth.
Now let me tell you something, it doesn't matter if you don't know the lyrics. It's death metal, no one will know the difference.
And now an incredibly brief history of Amon Amarth. Amon Amarth's a Swedish death metal band formed in 1992. Its name is taken from the Elvish term for Mount Doom from Lord of the Rings. And as such, most of their lyrics were based on fictional tales, Viking mythology, and war. They've released 9 studio albums, a live DVD, and throughout their career, they have dominated several hard rock and heat seeker charts. This newest album, Deceiver of the Gods, even reached number 19 at its peak on the Billboard Top 200. And that's pretty much it. Amon Amarth is one of those bands that people can tell right away whether they love or hate. Me, they're one of my favorites. I mean, I'm not huge into death metal, but they have a real identity behind their songs. Every song is powerful and melodic at the same time, and you can actually hear Viking come through when you listen to them. I mean, between the crazy screaming, the awesome guitars, and the drums pounding through every note, it sounds like a Viking attack. And if you've ever seen their live show, it translates pretty well. I'm still mad I missed this Mayhem Fest show. That's a goddamn Viking ship. How can you go wrong with that? While I don't think Amon Amarth's sound is evolved over the past couple years, I still consider With Odin on Our Side one of my favorite albums, and I think every release since then has been a continuation from that same sound. I look forward to every release that they've come out with since I started listening to the band, and this is no exception. I mean, I got the deluxe edition, so that means I get 2 discs of Amon Amarth. Look at the cover art, that is just beautiful. I'm so pumped. Let's not waste any more time. Here's Amon Amarth, Deceiver of the Gods. You know, I read somewhere that listening to an Amon Amarth album is kind of like recounting your last sexual experience. You can go through all the details, but the bottom line is you still get laid. And that's pretty much how it sounds straight from the start. I mean, the title track delivers in spades what you'd expect it to be. It's fun to listen to, it's really heavy, it's catchy as hell.
Now you all shall kneel to me, or death will set you free. You all shall kneel to me.
I'm one of those people who judges their first track on whether or not they're going to like the rest of the album. I think you've seen that with a couple of my reviews, but I'm not going to be disappointed by this, am I?
Nope.
I pretty much like this song from the start. I love the riff at the beginning, and that scream that backs it is just perfect.
Our biggest flames to find us.
This is kind of a deviation from what they normally sound like. I like this riff a lot, but it doesn't actually remind me of any other Amon Amarth songs, which is refreshing. I mean, it reminds me a lot of this full-blown Chaos song I used to listen to a lot when I was younger, except it's, you know, better. I think it just goes to show you, when you have a band that has such a distinctive sound like Amon Amarth, when you have deviations from the norm that still work, it's really impressive. By the way, with a title like As Loki Falls, can I just have free range to post this clip as much as I want? Nice. By the way, all this time, still haven't seen Dark World.
Lift up to the sky with evil thoughts of vicious kind that sin has made.
This song isn't bad. It's a pretty obvious choice for a single. I mean, to be honest, a lot of their singles have sounded alike. You know, War of the Gods, Twilight of the Thunder God. And this one, Father of the Wolf, it sounds like it's in the same vein, especially the same vein as War of the Gods.
Born of sin, dark within, Father of the Wolf.
By the way, there's another thing that's worth mentioning for this. The clips I just showed you from the music video, yeah, that's all I got. I can't find the video anywhere. As of the time I recorded this video, trust me, I looked for it, but it didn't show up on any of my searches. All I could find was the teaser video. I mean, did they ever put out a video for this? If so, was it just taken down right away? But if it was put up by the record label, why would it be taken down? I don't know, my head hurts. But just imagine if they had decided to just post a teaser video and then not post the actual video for about 4 months. Imagine if movies did that.
We need you to hope again.
I guess now is as good a time to say that I don't really know much about Nordic culture. I mean, what I've read I liked. I mean, you know, stuff with Loki and Thor and the Berserker, he was cool, and that time they trained those dragons. Thunder Horse, that's a good song. The point here is that I'm not an expert on Norse mythology. Hello?
Hey, bro!
Eddie? What the hell are you doing?
Give your audience a history lesson on Norse mythology. See, most legends date back to all the way in...
Eddie! Have you worked on that Black Sabbath video at all?
I don't know, have you worked on anything else in the past 3 months?
Working on it now. They can look it up themselves. Get back to work on that.
Dick?
Next song is called Shapeshifter, and... Damn it, I really could have used an explanation on that one. Now that I'm thinking about it, there isn't one track on this album that doesn't have at least one section that I find myself really grooving to. I mean, Under Siege has this awesomeness at the 50-second mark. All in all, this whole album is good, but it sounds like one continuous track. It makes for a good listen through all the way through, but it sounds like one long-ass song. I mean, it needs like an interruption or something. I didn't put that in. That's how they chose to start that track. I mean, the song is good. The song's good, but how can you expect me to talk about anything else? I mean, it's such a perfect sound effect. I mean, they must have spent so much time on that, getting the blood splatter and the weapon hitting the rib cage. I mean, I'm not saying that every song should start off with a sound effect like that, but you know what? It doesn't hurt. I think I just started a new type of subgenre called samplecore. Oh wait, Kill Whitney Dead already beat me to it. We should probably just keep moving. I mean, chances are the next song's gonna sound exactly like the last one anyway. Wait a minute, is that?
The banquet of the dead, your soul will never rest.
Hold on! Okay, Candlemass. If you don't listen to Candlemass, let me just briefly explain this. They're a legendary doom metal band from Sweden. In fact, if more doom metal sounded like Candlemass, I would listen to a lot more doom metal. They were popular in the 80s and 90s. They've been voted the greatest rock and metal act in Sweden a couple times over, and they're actually the 7th highest grossing musical act to come out of Sweden with 15 million albums sold. And for a doom metal band, that is unbelievable. And it makes me sad because I live in America where we have songs like this.
Say something, I'm giving up on you.
Grow some balls and start singing like this guy.
No one will see you again.
Probably the most notable part of this band is their former singer, Messiah Marcolin. I know I'm pronouncing that wrong, just bear with me. He's on this track, and it's called Hell, and it's unbelievable.
Here you will forever dwell. I welcome you to
My only complaint about this song is that I kind of wish that Johan had stayed off the track if they had just isolated Messiah's vocals, because his crazy bellowing and huge range would have really felt well alone with Amon Amarth backing him, and you know, it's a little distracting when you have both voices combined as one. Some people might like it, but I think it's too distracting. But that's the only complaint I have.
the mirror of darkness is blind.
You know what I haven't talked about yet? The lyrics on this album. Let's get into that, shall we?
Blood comes gushing from the wound as smoke is and falls to men to the
They tend to recycle lyrics a couple times. I mean, like, I remember hearing it on earlier albums, too.
I see the river rushing by. The blood runs from my wound. Blood gushes from the wound. The cut is wide and deep.
Actually, that's not fair. There is kind of a theme going on with the album, if you wanted to give it one. Probably a driving force behind it is what's depicted on the cover art, which, again, is incredible. They have had great cover art every single goddamn time they've put out an album. I mean, the cover art depicts Loki the trickster god, more than likely at Ragnarok, which is a huge series of events leading to a huge battle that eventually led to unparalleled destruction. A bunch of major gods died, and it led for the formation of a new world. And that's pretty much all I know because, again, I'm not an expert and I don't know enough to go in depth on this.
I do. By the way, you never hung up.
But you can definitely see some reflection of that theme in the lyrics. Now, this is definitely my favorite track from the first disc, and it's called Warriors of the North. It sounds like it's an 8-minute epic that was combined from 3 other previously written Amon Amarth songs. It combines all the best elements, and it works really well.
20 wasted years. We're aging men. Our youth is gone. We will shed no tears.
All the parts flow into each other. You can believe that it's all part of the same motion, and it's different enough that it really captures your interest for the full 8 minutes, which is incredible, in my opinion.
First in line to reach Valhalla's mighty gates.
This is pretty much a perfect representation of the band past and present, so I would actually recommend that this be the first song that you hear if you've never heard Amon Amarth before. which is kind of a moot point because I've already shown you like 10 other songs in this review. Damn it.
Now you f***ed up! You have f***ed up now!
Now, before we get into the wrap-up, I cannot get on with this without talking about the bonus disc. I got the deluxe edition, and it comes with a second disc that's called Under the Influence. I mean, just looking at the cover art, you kind of think that this would be a covers album. I mean, they remodeled their logo as to fit like Judas Priest and Black Sabbath and stuff, but here's the thing. I was looking at the track listing, and there's only 4 songs on it, but I didn't recognize any of them. Then I come to find out that Under the Influence is not a covers album. It is an album of original songs done in the style of other bands.
You know I am a gambling man, and I have paid the price.
And it shines through perfectly. There's an awesome Judas Priest one called Burning Anvil of Steel.
Cast by the demons that dwell, burning anvil of steel, forcing the furnace of hell.
You know, if you change around like 1 or 2 lyrics, it also becomes a Manowar one. But there's also a Motorhead one called Snake Eyes. There's a Black Sabbath one, which he does a surprisingly good Ozzy impression on.
Sacrificial rites from the trees of blood rains falling, the end of all mankind.
But my favorite track is this one. It's called Stand Up to Go Down.
I caught your eye in a New York bar. You were looking down at me.
It is a song about having sex with women who are 7 feet tall.
An angel in black, measuring in at just over 7 feet.
And it is done in the style of AC/DC.
Stand up to go down. No man was all around.
This might be my favorite song of 2013.
When we make out, I can't reach the ground.
Okay, before I get carried away and keep rambling,
Little late there, dumbass.
here's the good, the bad, and the ugly. For the good, Amon Amarth are sticking to their story. I watched the Henry Rollins special, and he described that when Slayer is in between albums, they just put him in a block of ice and chisel him out and tell him it's still 1982. And that's kind of what I feel about this. I mean, they don't change at all. Every album has everything you loved from them from the previous one. You know, the same aggression, the same motivations, the same lyrical style, the same
2 hours later.
monotonous tones, the same tired lyrics, the same vocals that can get a little distracting. The bad is that it's kind of the same. It's exactly the same as the good, but for a totally different reason. I mean, where it's different, it really sticks out. I mean, the Candlemass appearance is one thing, Warriors of the North is another, but the other tracks really do kind of sound the same. They're interchangeable between every album. This album itself does not have an identity, and that, I think, is where it suffers the most, because when you can't differentiate new from old, it's impossible to tell how a band has changed and grown. And while there are little moments of brilliance that shine through, it really does reflect poorly if you can't name songs track for track and you can't tell which album they're from. Honestly, I don't know what I'd expect them to do better. I can't see themselves not writing themselves into a hole when they categorize themselves so deeply with this one niche, but when you have it like that, it tends to get a little tired after a while. It's still fun to listen to, it's just not groundbreaking, and I think that'll turn a couple people off. And now for the ugly, which I have to explain this because the ugly I usually use as a term for something else that's bad, but really I just define the ugly part as something that's different or noteworthy, and nothing is more noteworthy about this release than Under the Influence. I mean, I'm blown away by it, I really am. I'm a huge metal covers guy. I mean, I love them, I play 2 of them every week on my radio show, but I like them because they range from anywhere between hysterical and awesome, and this is just awesome. It's one thing to play songs from another band, but you're using the influence that you've gained from them. You're using the respect that you have for the bands by creating new music with their same passion and style. And that is how you do a metal tribute. That, I think, is one of the best ideas I've ever heard. I mean, I will take a cover song here and there. Amon Amarth has done some great cover songs, and if you don't believe me, check out Johan at karaoke.
Life is a waterfall. You run in the river and wanna get up to the fall.
I really need to get down to the 70,000 tons of metal sometime, but the point is that this is the best idea for a tribute, and if you want any proof of that, just listen to Stand Up to Go Down. From start to finish, it's got the pacing, the style, the movements of an AC/DC song. It's even got the solo down, which is so much different than you're used to hearing from Amon Amarth, but it sounds so natural. I mean, you've still got the screaming vocals, you've still got the harder, harsher distortion, but when it comes right down to it, this is the best tribute to AC/DC I've ever seen in my life. I'm sorry you all had to see that, but I have a point to make. While it's not the most creative release from them, it's got moments of brilliance that shine through. Still though, with all the possibilities and talent at their disposal, I'm not blown away from it. When they stray from the path, they're a lot more enjoyable to listen to, especially on the tracks Hell, Warriors of the North, and As Loki Falls. Couldn't resist. But even the tracks that sound like every other Amon Amarth song are still fun to listen to. I'm not mad that I bought this album. In fact, I'm still pretty happy and I will continue to listen to it. It's not captivating enough for an entire release. I would have loved it more if the songs had more differentiation, but to be perfectly honest, Amon Amarth has never been one of those people to just do a crazy concept album or create something completely different just for the sake of creating something different. If you liked this album and you liked what I showed you, check out their back catalog because there are some real gems in them. And if you like Viking and death metal and you've heard other things before, this is definitely an album for you. But even if you're not big into death metal, which I'm not, this is still really enjoyable, it's still really fun, and I would recommend anybody buy this just for the chance to own Under the Influence. So until next time, be sure to subscribe to my channel, check out all my other videos, and be sure to like my page on Facebook where you'll get updates to all my videos and a link to my radio show every Tuesday. And until next time, remember, life is too short to listen to bad music. I haven't really decided what the next video is going to be, but I've narrowed it down to 2. It's going to be the first video of 2014, and so I want to leave it up to you guys. So please leave me a comment or hit me up on my email address if you want me to do either of these 2. Do you want me to do an album that I love listening to, is probably one of my favorite albums of the year, and I have a lot to say?
This drought is relieved with acid rain.
Or do you want 2014 to kick off with me bitching about something? Let me know. The power is yours.